Hey, this is Ruth Hartunian Alaba, otherwise known as Ravings and Cravings, here in the studio live with Mr. Rupar. Thank you, Matt, for being here. You are the man. I am also here in the studio with Jess Stone from Cold Spring Farm. She is the owner of the farm, and she has so much to talk about that I could basically just sit down right now and just hand over the mic. But I should ask a few questions, but welcome.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Welcome
Thank
to
you
WILI.
so much for having. Nice to see you again.
I know it's been
a while.
Quite a few years.
Yeah.
So I wanted to mention what I put in my Instagram post because I think it's kind of a nice lead off to your farm and what it's about. Oh, actually, but I should stop. Elm Package Store. Yes, I got to remember those sponsors. Thank you. Recognize the station. 1400 AM and 95.3 FM for WILI. Yeah, it's station identification. I just want to talk about the other stuff, so it's really hard to remember the other. First, you should tell us the location of the farm, where you're on social media, your phone number, and I will get myself organized because I have so many things I want to ask you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Cold Spring Farm is in East Haddam and Colchester, right on the border of both towns.
Oh, okay.
If you are visiting the farm in our year-round farm stand, it's literally open every single day from 7 a.m. until I go to bed, and then I close it up. So it's at 46 Lake Hayward Town Road in Colchester.
Okay.
But if you are trying to find the farm, the address will not get you there. So you need to type in or say, take me to Cold Spring Farm to your GPS, and it will take you to Cold Spring Farm.
That's kind of cool. All right. Phone number there?
Oh, phone number there is 860-316-8368, and we call it the farm phone. It's a portable device known as a cell phone, and you can text it or call it, but texting is really effective in getting an answer. If someone in the office is carrying it, it's never me.
Okay. And social media presence, how will people find you?
So we are on Instagram as Cold Spring Farm CT, same with Facebook, Cold Spring Farm CT, and we have a website, coldspringfarmct.com.
There's a theme here.
It's so easy to remember.
Cold Spring Farm CT. Great. So in my Instagram post, when I announced that I was going to be interviewing Jess, I mentioned something that we did at her farm during COVID. Like we were all hurting so badly. And so my family and I, that would be just 4 of us, we got charcuterie and even some fried fish, and we rented a picnic table on the farm for 2 hours. Yeah. We were the only ones there. Yeah. And so it's this broad expanse of scenery, the fresh air, the dogs running around, the smell of the farm. I just felt like we were on vacation. It was so beautiful, and it was a great memory of something that happened during a very tragic time of our history. So even before that, though, I had visited you and done a story for the Chronicle, but I had always wanted to come there and do other things. You have so many things going on at the farm. So I'm going to hand this part over to you where you can talk about all the things that you have to provide, because there's so many great things.
Thank you. And you can rein me in whenever you feel because it can go on and on forever.
If I had a fork, I would be opening the jar of pickled beets and eating while you were talking, but I'm not going to do that.
I should have planned ahead.
That's
I didn't
okay.
realize.
Nope, you go ahead. Ahead.
Okay, so again, I mentioned the farm stand, so we have that down. We have a 300-acre farm. It is a lot of different things. So it comprises of forest land, pasture land, crop land. Our latest thing is barns. We've been building barns since we bought the farm. We've owned the farm for 11 years now. We leased it for 8 years prior to that. This was one of my 5 rentals years ago when I had finally moved back to East Haddam, where I'm from. And my husband is from Colchester.
You guys are locals.
Yeah, we're super local, hyper-local
people.
We went away for a while. Well, I shouldn't speak for my husband. I went away for a while, had some perspective, but always planned to come back and farm.
Okay.
And so I met him years later after I was a full-time farmer. We met at a farmer's market in East Haddam.
Go figure. Happen. Okay.
Yeah. It literally has to hit me in the face for it to happen because the things are so busy all the time.
Sure, yeah.
But on the farm, we have cows and pigs and sheep and goats, and we have chickens and ducks, peacocks, geese, rabbits, dogs, cats, kids, like the works.
Do you have the quail?
We have the quail, and we also have an employee who also has quail.
Oh.
So that's exciting. So we have backup quail eggs.
You have a lot. Yeah. So, Matt,
Quail
if you
eggs.
can zoom in, because these
Goose
are really
eggs.
small.
Yeah. I brought the smallest and the largest egg produced on the farm,
Yeah,
just
so-
for contrast and fun.
Yeah,
like,
so-
look at these all different blue eggs. There's so many different colors.
Jess is holding up the quail egg and contrasting it with the duck egg, so you can
and the
see
goose
the
egg.
size.
We do have the duck egg too, and the chicken egg in the farm stand.
So you can buy those eggs if you want to.
They're literally, I pulled these from the farm stand on my way out today.
Great. Okay.
They're actually still cold from the cooler.
Oh. Ah.
So, yeah, so, and then we have vegetables, herbs, flowers, and fruits. I harvested some rhubarb today as well, and some fresh basil from our greenhouse. We just
All
had a
right.
plant sale on Saturday.
We're going to hold these things up too so you can see them. The basil is so healthy looking and so nice smelling. So everybody usually knows what a basil plant looks like. Can you see the rhubarb from where it is at all?
Yes.
It is huge. It looks like it's on steroids.
So the cool thing about this rhubarb variety is that it's over 100 years old.
Oh, so is that an heirloom?
It is. Yeah, almost everything
I
we
never
grow
heard of-
on the farm is an heirloom.
Okay,
Almost
so
because I'm snobby and I like real things that taste really good.
so
and-
you know, I didn't know that, and now that to me like that makes me even more excited to have you here. So
Thank you.
explain to people what it is to have heirloom products on your
Yeah,
farm.
so
That's
so
special.
heirlooms in general, right? So we have heritage breed animals, right?
So
and we
explain-
have heirloom
Yeah,
animal,
you gotta
or
explain what that
heirloom
is.
crops,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so those two things, heirloom and heritage, mean that for generations,
Mm-hmm.
the animals were raised by others, the breed specifically, and also that the varieties of crops were grown in fields. And in gardens.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're talking postage stamp gardens. We're talking like wartime gardens.
Ah.
We're talking victory gardens.
Oh, wow, that's
and so
amazing.
these seeds and crops and animals were bred or selected
Mm-hmm.
and raised for years and years and years, like well beyond my age, over and over again.
Wow.
And the nice benefit of that is they've adapted to the times. So maybe not COVID specifically, but weather-related adaptations
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
all
pests
right.
and insects and things like that. So different types of soils, different changes in the landscape, and so different types, of organisms in the soils. And so the nice thing is they're tried and true, is how I like to say it.
I see.
They're tried and true.
They've truly stood
Right.
the test of time.
Right. They weren't about like producing the most amount, but they were about producing the best flavors. And like adapting through all of those other changes that I mentioned. And so those two things were the reasons why people kept them and why they saved them, why they saved the seed, why they kept the breed continuing in the pig, for example. And so nowadays production is focused on hybridization of both animals and plants. And the reason why that's important to know is that there is an idea of like production, that we want to produce the most amount of food with one plant that we possibly can. But in that process, you lose flavor.
Yes, that is so true.
Then you add like modern day, like we walk into a grocery store and grab whatever we want, whenever we want, year round, right? There's trade-offs for that. And a lot of that has to do with shelf life. And so certain crops are bred selectively for shelf life.
Okay.
So like an example is a tomato was inserted with a fish gene so that the tomato would last on the grocery store shelf longer than straight from the
Well,
field, or bananas are harvested green from
they
other
don't
countries
taste like
and brought
anything.
here and gassed, right?
But they don't taste like anything.
Right. The
That's-
quality is
yeah.
different. Everything about it's different. So when I say heirloom and heritage, I mean there's flavor.
Okay.
In the animal, it's flavor in the fat, but it's also based on other things like how the animals are raised, how they're fed. Same with the plants.
There you go.
The feed is the soil.
So, in your kind of farming, what you do, it's more time intensive.
Yes.
And it's more labor intensive. Mm-hmm. And so that means that what it takes to bring product to the table, it's really a labor of love, isn't it?
Yes. Has to be a labor of food, like a love of food.
Yeah, love
right?
of food. We
and
do.
flavor.
Matt, do
and
love
that's my
food.
obsession.
Yeah,
Right?
uh-huh.
Like that's been my obsession since I was a kid. So I've wanted to be a farmer since I was 7.
Wow.
And I did not grow up on a farm, and I did not come directly from a farm family.
That's interesting. How'd that happen?
And I'm the only person in my family of every generation that ever did what I do. They've all had gardens or like a pig or a hay field, but not, or dairy, right? But they didn't do the diversity of what I do. And my rule is I want to eat it all, so it has to be there.
So what was your inspiration when you were 7? Do you remember what it was that kind of got the ball rolling?
The first thing was just being outside. I was talking, walking, and potty trained when I was 9 months old. So I was like very
You're
ahead of that, and like
there.
I was outside, and my sensory experience was unique for that reason, and I have a memory back to early in those first couple of years of life because of that, because I could experience all the senses in one place. And so being outside, like farming is an excuse to be outside, growing a garden is an excuse to be outside, being with animals is an excuse to be outside. So I loved to be outside. Nature was my solace. I had a rough upbringing, a rough childhood, but nature is what kept me grounded. And like, so any excuse.
Get it. I get it. It's like therapy.
Yeah, exactly. It sure is. So that was how it started, but then the way food tasted and the way that like things were prepared and we grew up poor. And so my mom had the Freihoffers and the Little Debbie snack cakes and all of these things. And I didn't feel well when I ate them. So by the time I was 11, I had banned fast food and had gardens, extensive gardens. And I just kept growing. And then when I was a little loftier in my ideals, I'm like, I'll just have goats and chickens and gardens. And then I realized, but I really want beef. And I really want bacon, and I'm only going to have it if I do it myself, because at the time farming wasn't cool and nobody was really doing it. But even still, like even when I would buy it from somewhere else, I could tell based on like how it lived, based on the way it tasted.
Yeah. Yep.
So it kind of expanded. It's an obsession of mine.
So besides fruit, besides veggies, and besides the meats, you also sell already made types of food.
Yeah. So yes,
and Jess brought in.
We do a lot of canning.
Pickled
We put up.
beets.
We do flash freezing, dehydrating.
I love beets.
And those are a really recent batch, actually, from the winter. We do our canning for beets and carrots in the winter time because we can store those crops.
So what are some of the things on your shelf that people could like walk in and grab and go kind of thing?
So in general or for canned goods?
For canned goods.
Okay, so canned goods, like we do different jams and jellies. We do chutneys. We do pickled beets and carrots. So we do what I call the pickle tray. So during the holidays, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, you get together with, or Easter, right?
It's kind of a throwback vintagey idea, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just a kind of a joke in our family because one year, like I'm a big fanatic in cooking, but my sister is not, and so the joke is like one year we asked her just to bring pickles, right? And we were like, you're doing the pickle tray, so she shows up with a store-bought jar of pickles, and she asks for a tray. And we're like, oh my God, like, okay. So as we provide all of it, pickled beets, pickled onions, like, every single thing you can think
eggs?
of. We do. We do pickled eggs too. We do 3 different kinds. I know.
3 kinds. Okay.
Yeah.
So what
we do bone broth in jars now too.
And then do you also have the bone broth kits?
We do. Yeah.
That was my other
making kits.
That was my other portal of entry as far as the farm. Talk about that too. The kits that you have available. Yeah. That's kind of cool.
So if you're coming to the farm stand, right? There's some prepared stuff in there, but for the most part, you're getting fresh ingredients so that you can make a meal, right? So we sell meats in there, we sell milk, we sell cheese, we sell yogurt, whatever we don't produce, which is the majority of what's there. We actually get from like our dairy farmer friends, so we support them and carry those products.
Collaborate with other farmers.
Yeah, exactly. But so our produce and products, and I always think of creative ways to get people to think about food, and sometimes we provide recipes from things that we've made.
Oh, that's nice.
And then we also make kits saying these are all the ingredients you need to make soup stock. These are all the ingredients you need to make bone broth. Like we sell them all. And we sell them on our website and we sell them in the farm stand and we change what's featured based on the time of the year. So in the winter you're going to make a soup. Whereas in the summer you're like, not feeling that. Right?
Right. And if I don't want to take a drive to Colchester, even though it's a nice drive, I have other options to get your product.
That's right. Yeah. So we do have a CSA program and we have a subscription service. And whether you sign up for either option, some people just order a produce bag online, a one-time thing, or they'll do it weekly, and we deliver it upon request. So
that is a game to me. That's a game changer for a lot of people. I mean, I'm self-employed, so I can mess with my time. But for people who are working all the time, you can still eat good, healthy food,
right? And have it delivered.
Regardless of whether, and have it delivered right to your door.
Yes, exactly. And we've been doing that, I want to say, for almost 18 years.
That was even 18.
Isn't that scary? Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's at least 18 because I always underestimate or like generalize and
Well, to sustain a service like that for that long, is that's pretty commendable.
Yeah. So we've been doing a minimum of 3 days a week, sometimes 4 days a week of deliveries, but we do different regions of the state. We have order minimums for the farther out ones, but we try to stay within a certain radius. But we will deliver as far all throughout Connecticut. And so we do have a lot of weekly orders. We call our delivery system the Bible because that's what dictates everything else we do every week. So it's like deliveries and pickups and our food scrap pickups and We collect food scraps from different businesses and schools and restaurants and bring it back, and we make compost, which is the primary goal. Like, we're soil farmers and everything else is a byproduct. We make our own ingredients for the soil.
Oh my goodness. Well, and besides all that, you also have a food truck and a gift store and some other...
Yeah.
So you're very entrepreneurial. So talk about those things too.
Well, so a lot of so the food truck actually stemmed because I organized the Colchester Farmers Market, and this has been now 16 years. This will be our 16th season, starting Father's Day this year, on the Colchester Town Green. And the food truck started because we really needed a prepared foods vendor who would stay. And our market crosses over breakfast and lunch, 9 to 1. And long story short is we couldn't keep a consistent vendor. And I was really kind of frustrated by that because they'd show up or not show up or like not be able to stay the whole time.
So you became the solution.
Well, I did because I had my wits end, and I told my husband, I like looked at him one day and I'm like, if this happens one more time, I'm doing it myself next year. So that started with 6 years of tent, table, and grill setup. And then led me to realize I need a food truck. And so I bought a food truck like 4 years ago and have been now year-round doing a lot of different things that help other businesses, fundraisers in the community, like the Giving Garden, all kinds of things. It's been fun.
So where can someone go to find all your goings on and find your schedule and services and all the things that you provide? Is there like a best place to go for that?
So if really, I just tell people to go on our websites and sign up for our email newsletters because we're really good about that. And of
you
course,
have really nice newsletters too.
Thank you.
I actually read them.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I may be the only person in the world, but you never know.
I hope not. No.
I hope not either.
But that's where it is. Like, that's where the information is. Like, we do a lot of collaboration and crossover with the businesses. I call it cross-pollination, right? Because, at the farmer's market is where you can find our farm fresh fare with a food truck called the Farm Kitchen. So if you went to thefarmkitchenct.com, you'd see where we are. But rather than signing up for 4 newsletters, just go to the farm website, coldspringfarmct.com, and then drop to the bottom and jump on our wagon.
What are you making on your wagon?
Good question. Kind of whatever I feel like, honestly. I always have a farmer's choice for the market.
It's just called farm to table,
we're known
right?
across the state for our burgers because everything is local. So it's farm fresh fare, literally. So the beef is either our beef from Cold Spring Farm or another farm that I know, a farmer. We do those things. We have a gluten-free fryer. So if the fairs, I'll do like fried shiitake mushrooms with black pepper and sea salt and a creamy dill sauce dipping.
So the gluten-free people don't have to go hungry?
Right, gluten-free. Gluten-free people come crying when they try the food. They're like so excited that we have something for them and they love it. And so they're really psyched about that. And then I literally have an 18-page menu of things. We put 180 menus together that I did just last year because I make things up when I'm sleeping and I'm like, oh, this is in season, I'm going to use this.
Yeah.
Something has to inspire me and then I do it.
Does the season always drive the menu, or are there certain things on there that you will always have on there no matter what the season is because people will cry if you don't have them?
Only if I can produce it and store it. Otherwise,
so burgers
no.
You can, right?
Yeah, well, people ask me all the time, oh, can I get a tomato on my burger? I'm like, no, it's winter. Like, I can give you our tomato jam on your burger. I'm like, I don't have a tomato.
That's a great tomato jam.
So I come up with creative ways, right? So a lot of our canning, we put up 4,500 jars a year for our customers.
Okay.
We put up a certain amount for ourselves, and then I do a whole bunch of half-gallon jars for our food truck. So I'll do pickles, and I'll make mustard, and I'll make ketchup, and I'll make I make a bacon jam, like all the candied jalapenos, like whatever I need to make what I need. And so every year I ramp it up a little bit.
I'm going to guess you probably don't even use a recipe.
I don't.
Yeah, so you just throw stuff together.
I do. And I like to make things up and I like to have fun. And I'm probably the only chef, right, who will serve something before I've tried it.
Oh,
That's a bad admittance, but it's true.
I'm not a chef.
Because I can tell by the ingredients and the way they smell and the way they interact that they're going to taste good.
I'm not a chef, but I do that. I do that too.
It's important.
And I've really never had a fail. People will eat things and I always say, well, I can always order pizza if it's a total trash,
terrible,
something.
right?
If it's totally terrible.
Well, I think it's what keeps me doing it is because it's really interesting and creative and fun. So if I didn't do that, I'd get bored. And I can't get bored.
So what do you think, Jess, what do you think people don't know about Cold Spring Farm that you would like them to know?
Well, I think really, like right now, there's a lot of construction going on, and some folks who are local know it because they're coming to the stand and they're only allowed at a certain point. We host classes and workshops. We just built
On-site?
we just built a beautiful new space that includes
That's
class
very
and workshop
cool.
space, including a microscopy counter for 6 microscopes to study organisms and the way they interact in the soil to determine soil health.
Homeschool people.
Yeah, we have
take
homeschool
note.
folks, right? We have homeschool students. We just had a group last week that had a whole farm to or field to table experience by like harvesting their own ingredients and preparing a meal with me. Lots of direction, lots of different ages. It was very interesting and cool. They all
like
had a
one-room
great time.
schoolhouse,
Yep.
right?
Yep, we've been hosting field trips for different area public schools for a while. We do a farm to school program. We work with 13 school districts and also like a bunch of others, but 13 consistently, and feed those students at different schools around the state.
Lucky them.
Right? It's
I
fun.
know.
We go and do programming. We also have been working very closely with Middletown Public Schools, and we actually are working on a program like with 8 modules training their cafeteria staff on how to use farm fresh ingredients in the cafeterias.
So how is
That's
that?
a 2-year program that we're starting up.
How is that different from not farm fresh?
Oh, how is it for them?
Yeah.
It's very different because the equipment is different, the time and the labor is different, and my job is to make it easier for them and show them that it can be done. And that it will
they
save
don't
them money
freak
in the
out?
long run, right? Because they can prepare a whole lot of food all at once and then save it, put it up, so to speak.
Okay.
And then serve it out. But the key thing is getting kids to like it and eat it. And so those are the things that I talk about. I spoke at the Nutrition Education Association event for all the nutritional directors in Connecticut a few months back. And my whole presentation was about things you can serve to students that they'll actually eat. And like methods, tips, and tricks and recipes, but using farm fresh ingredients.
Nice.
So-
Nice. Well, I did a little substitute teaching
Ooh.
here in this town, and I remember getting the snack of the day. And I think it was a 2nd grade class, and they were avocado halves that were already peeled with the pit taken out, and they were wrapped in plastic. So you basically had to cut it out of there
Ooh.
in order to get it out of there.
Okay.
Most kids have never seen an avocado look like that, let
Yeah.
alone eat it. And I took home probably 90% of what was handed out for guacamole because
They
they
didn't
all
touch
looked
it.
at it and they turned up their noses.
Yeah.
So your job,
Right, is to make them eat it and
Say,
like it.
"Yay for
yes.
guacamole."
Yes,
Woohoo.
yes. And
Yeah.
our newest endeavor that we'll be starting this year is that in our new barn, we actually built an apothecary lab. That's my little nickname for a space that we make plant medicine in.
that's very
So
cool.
tinctures, salves, hydrosols, fluorosols, teas, soaps, whatever we want, but plant-based ingredients from the farm. And so that space will actually be, all the products we produce will be under a name called Golden Circle Herbals, and that will
Right.
start this year. And it's a really exciting thing that most people do not know about.
Wow, you heard it
is-
here on WILI.
First time in public ever.
Yes. So give us the name of the farm again, Jess. Give us the address, the phone number, and your social media presence.
Yeah,
Let's do
so it's
that.
Cold Spring Farm. The website is coldspringfarmct.com.
Yay.
The phone number is 860-316-8368. The way to get to the farm is talk to your GPS and say, take me to Cold Spring Farm. Social media is on Instagram and Facebook. We have a website too, which I think I mentioned, but I'll say it again.
Go ahead, say it again.
coldspringfarmct.com. And you can find information about our CSA program, our delivery service, our classes and events. We encourage you to jump on our wagon, which means sign up for our email newsletter and learn about what's coming up, because we do not only kid classes, but we also do adult ones too, and they're really fun. We make this fun. And yeah, there's just a lot of opportunities that
I would sign
growing.
up for like every class I could ever do because I'm a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
I just want to learn things, and I like handling things and
You need to
touching
come visit the
things,
farm.
I
There's a
haven't
lot.
been for
You
so
haven't.
long.
It's changed a lot. You may
Yes.
not even recognize it. It's so expanded since the last time.
Well, I will definitely make it out there for sure. That's for sure. Well, I appreciate your coming today, bringing all this beautiful product for us to see. I hope some of you who are out there will watch this on YouTube, because then you'll get to see all the colors, and you can't taste anything, but you can't have it all.
You can look through the lens.
Yeah.
And then visit the farm stand, and that's how you'll get to taste things, or visit the food truck.
Well, and I got to tell you, next week I'm being displaced by a baseball game, and so I will not be here. I will probably not be listening to the game either, but I will be back, I guess, the first Monday in June.
I do believe, yes.
Yeah. So I'm not fired yet, right?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. We'll just wait for that. So, hey, this is Ruth Hartunian Allenba, otherwise known as Ravings and Cravings, signing off here on Good Company WILI.